In today's episode, I will be interviewing Annalisa. Annalisa is a wife and proud mother of two amazing boys. She is an early childhood educator, motherhood coach, and best-selling author. Annalisa is a passionate maternal health advocate. She is determined to break the stigma around mental illness by normalizing vulnerability. Her journey has been deeply enriched by her work with children with diverse needs and their families, teaching her the profound impact of resilience and compassionate care. Annalisa's mission is to inspire women in community through meaningful connections and creative expression to strengthen their self-compassion so that they feel seen, heard, and heal. Hello, this is your host, Renata Ortega. Welcome to today's episode of the Cycle Breaker and Changemaker podcast. This podcast is all about how to break free from negative generational cycles in order to create meaningful, lasting changes. For helpful tools and answers to your most pressing questions, be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Cycle Breaker Changemaker. I look forward to helping you on your cycle breaking and change-making journey. I promise you will find nothing more rewarding than this. Annalisa, could you please tell the audience what you do professionally?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Renata. Hi, everyone. My name is Annalisa. I've been an early childhood educator for the past 12 years. I still work in the field, but not as much. But my main title now is I call myself a motherhood coach. So I'm a certified life and wellness coach, and I support moms that are feeling overwhelmed and help them shift from surviving to thriving.
Amazing. And how did you get on this journey? Are you a mom yourself? What motivated you to become doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it was born out of actually a painful experience with the birth of my second son. I developed postpartum depression and anxiety short after. And on my healing journey, I was rediscovering who I was and I was getting better. And I realized that moms need more support than just, a couple of doctor visits a year. And I really was discovering that a lot of moms were kind of suffering in silence and accepting that life in motherhood is supposed to be hard and exhausting and overwhelming, and we kind of just need to suck it up. And so I made it my mission to support moms that are struggling in motherhood, not just necessarily new moms, but any mom that is trying to juggle and navigate their mental health, their career, their family, their social life, their relationships with their spouse. So it was kind of born out of that pain and suffering. So I guess with that pain, I found my purpose in life. And it's been kind of an uphill battle, this whole entrepreneur thing, but I'm always trying to remember my why. Like, why did I choose to do that? And that's why. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Amazing. So thank you for sharing that. I also suffered from postpartum depression with my second child, and I didn't expect it because I didn't experience it with my first. I had a little bit of postpartum anxiety with my first, but it really felt like it came out of nowhere. And the best way I could try to describe it to people around me is I felt like I was in deep emotional pain, hung over, and like I was in a black hole all the time. It was really, really challenging. So I'm sorry that you went through that. And I'm really grateful that you exist for other mothers out there that need help, because it is a really tough time. I was wondering if you could share an example of a cycle or cycles that you have broken in your own life.
Well, thank you for sharing your personal experience with postpartum depression. I really appreciate your vulnerability. I was raised in a culture and also, I guess, a religion that mothers have to be the martyr in the family. And I learned this the hard way, developing depression and anxiety after my second son was born. I was really trying to prove that I could meet those standards of being a martyr mom, always putting my family first, ignoring my needs. And on this healing journey, I really learned that moms need to put themselves first. We need to take care of our own basic needs first. And it's not selfish to prioritize self care or whatever that may look like and time for ourselves. And so it's definitely been a long journey. I wouldn't say that I'm like fully, I figured it out, but it's really letting go of that guilt that and giving myself permission to take that time away from my family, whatever that looks like, reading a book, going to a cafe, meeting a friend, like all those little things that I stopped doing for myself in that time when I was really suffering in silence, because I really wanted to prove to my family, my friends, I guess even society that I could, juggle motherhood with two really young kids and like, go to school and grow my career and all those things. And I think it left me feeling like really empty and feeling like I'm drowning in all the responsibilities. And so breaking that cycle is definitely going to always be a journey. I don't think it'll ever really go away, all the duties and responsibilities that I am responsible for. But I think, yeah, breaking that cycle of just self sacrificing and overgiving.
I think that's really admirable. And it's really challenging when you're dealing with generations and generations of expectations that are put upon new mothers. And it really is not possible to do it all. It's just we're humans and we have strengths and weaknesses, and we also have our limits. So there's only so many hours in the day and so much energy that we have. So why was it important to you particularly to break that cycle, to break the cycle of being the smarter mom as you described?
It was important, I think, for my mental health specifically. It was so tough to let go of the unlearning that I've kind of been trained to be very passive with my own needs and to just like unselfishly always give to everybody and not willing to ask for help, not willing to accept help was huge for me, and just keeping silent about it. Like I felt like I wasn't allowed to complain, because I did have support, but it was still hard. Like I was still struggling with the support of my parents and my in-laws. And so, yeah, I think it was most important for my mental health because when I was in it, struggling in that anxiety and depression, it made me really resentful and angry, but also like really sad and like empty. And I just didn't know like why I was feeling those things. And then I finally got help for it. And it's changed my life, remembering myself and putting myself first in times of when I really need it the most has helped me.
One of the things that's so important to remember, but is easy to forget in those dark times, is it's not your fault and you can ask for help. And there's reasons why there's teams, medically trained professionals that focus their entire careers on a mother's mood after having a baby. So it's definitely not your fault, and it can feel overwhelming and surprising when it happens and unexpected, even if you have help, because it's not an external thing, it's an internal thing that you struggle with. So I was wondering if you could now share an example of an action where you've taken to make meaningful change. So we've talked about a cycle that you've broken, which is very admirable. And now I'd love to focus on meaningful change that you've made.
Well, yeah, one of the things was getting certified in life and wellness coaching. That was the first step because in the program there's a slogan that says the first life you change is your own. And I just fell in love with the coaching model. Like I love how it's not just a conversation, like you're helping people like change their life, and that's such a huge reward and responsibility as a coach to do that. And another thing I think in making meaningful change is I'm a huge advocate for mental health and more specifically maternal mental health. And it's just always been on like the work I do. Like I don't, it's not just a title because I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm a mental health advocate. And that's great. And I, respect anybody that's in that passion in that realm. But being part of Postpartum Support International Canada has really opened my eyes to how, the perinatal mental health is it's really an underserved demographic. And being part of the team and helping them advocate for awareness and spreading the word about, these services that they're offering. It's a nonprofit, and it's really changed my life. I've had opportunities that I probably would have never had to be part of the change in creating some sort of mental health care system in Canada. And so it's been a wonderful journey working with them and volunteering my time there, creating social media for them as well. So it's just been really so impactful. And I feel like I'm actively a maternal mental health advocate. It's not just a title for me. And it is a lot of work, but it's the work I love doing. So I'm just very grateful for all of that.
That's amazing and such a great example of change. And you're obviously helping not only the women that are currently dealing with mental health struggles after having children, but you're helping generations to come. I honestly believe that because a mother that's supported can be a better and more present parent to their children, which in turn fosters children that grow up with a sound sense of self and security and safety. And as my final question for today is, what piece of advice do you have for others that are facing the same challenges you faced?
I think for me, it was the self-awareness piece that I was struggling with my mental health specifically. And I mean, everything kind of trickles down there with physical and emotional and spiritual and all that stuff. But I think really reaching out for help, I always talk about it in my book, but also with other people that I called 811, and that's just Telehealth Ontario. And I spoke to a nurse that was so kind and supportive and really held space for me because I was just like bawling on the phone. I was crying so much. And she just was so quiet. And she's like, no, take your time. And I told her that I had symptoms, that I, was really suffering. And she gave me resources and gave me advice as what to do next. And so it was really being aware of what my body was telling me and really being intuitive in that sense. And then having the courage to ask for help. Because I think for a long time, I wasn't even talking about it with my husband or my friends or anybody. I really kept it in. And I think when you keep it inside, it can only last there for too long until your body starts to tell you, kind of push you to get help anyway. But I would definitely say is the self-awareness piece, be aware of what you're feeling, how you're thinking. And the second step is to reach out and ask for help. And then the third step is to accept help and to kind of let go of control. I'm definitely a control freak sometimes. So letting people help you is the best thing you can do for yourself if you have the opportunity to. I know some moms don't, but there's so many resources, support systems out there that are, specific to supporting moms, parents. It's just finding the right resources.
Wonderful. And so you said you called, was it 811 that you called?
Yeah, it's 811, and it's just, I guess, like the telehealth Ontario helpline. So you automatically get connected to a nurse, and then that nurse will kind of guide you based on what needs you need in that time.
Amazing. And you also mentioned a book. I would love to hear more about your book.
Oh yeah, so it's a co-authored book. It's called The Lighthouse Project Volume 2. And so it's part of a series called The Lighthouse Project. And yeah, it was launched last September 2024, and it reached Amazon's bestseller list. So it was such an exciting experience because I just never thought my first book would go to bestseller, but it was such a wonderful, rewarding experience to be able to
Wonderful.
share my story. Yeah.
And so where can listeners pick up that book? On Amazon?
You can purchase it on Amazon and I think in stores as well. I think as an ebook. And I also sell copies just through through Instagram or my website. But it's more of just like kind of word of mouth right now. But you can, yes, buy it on Amazon.
Amazing. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Annalisa. I've really appreciated having you on. and getting to know more about you and your businesses as well.
Thank you so much, Renata. It was nice meeting you too and chatting with you today. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much for tuning in to today's episode with Annalisa. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. I will be putting ways to contact Annalisa in the show notes. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Cycle Breaker and Changemaker. I would love to hear from you and to receive your feedback. Remember, you can reach me on Instagram or Facebook at Cycle Breaker Changemaker. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts in order to help me continue to help you. I am looking forward to having you join me for the next episode. Until then, please take care.